In the night sky with you, getting high in the sunrise with you, getting through all the bad times with you. I wasn't missing a thing, now I do. And I wish that I could put a time machine, 'cause time moves on, and now you're gone. Oh, if only I could build a time machine, I'd come and get you. I can't forget you. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you all the time.
Got myself a couple of birthday presents, trying to figure them out, so bear with me. So, yeah, one of the birthday presents I got is this mic, which is big and chunky, but whatever. And the other one is this. So this is a UTG 3x9 scope. It's got mil dot reticles, if you can see that. I'm swapping it out from a red dot. My birthday was yesterday. That's why I got myself birthday presents, and why I probably look like I'm a little bit hungover. But anyway, so this is a red dot sight. You see that? So it to each their own. I'm not a big fan of red dots, regardless of the brand, because I don't like to be reliant on batteries, and I don't like having to try and co-witness iron sights through a particular scope. So what we're doing is we're changing this up. So a lot of folk don't realize that leveling your scope is important, right? So your scope should come with rings, right? These happen to be QD, quick detach rings for the scope that I bought. So I'm doing this so, like, for somebody that doesn't know a flip about any kind of firearm or shooting system, should come with wrenches, little Allen keys. Just take the rings apart and put your scope, seat your scope. So there's that. So the portion that goes to the rifle and the scope sitting basically up. So there's the bottom. So basically up. And you're going to put your rings together, but you're not going to tighten them down. And I'll show you why. And this is also leveling a scope without a vise. And a vise, if you're not familiar, rifle vise allows you to set your rifle in it, and you can plumb it while it's in your vise. And by plumbing, I mean straight up and down. So this is going to get you pretty damn close without a vise. So you're not even, you're going to basically, and I'm going to have to move the camera, basically going to put your screws together, put your rings together with the screws in your Allen key, and you just want to kind of snug it down, and so that the scope will still turn without scratching the body. And me, I don't really care about scratching the body, and I'll tell you why. Because I freaking spray paint everything. If you stand still long enough, I'm going to spray paint your ass too. So it still moves. That's good. So we're going to do the same thing with the second one. Make sure that your QD is on the same side. And you can basically set these left or right. Man, tell you what, I had a fun time with my boss lady last night. We stayed up way too late. And old boy here just drank a little bit too much beer, I think. So, yep, get your ring lined up. And another thing, I'll probably mention it again here in just a minute, but another thing to note is that you don't want this rear ring so far back. If you've got a power option, you don't want it so far back that your power option is hard to turn. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. So I'm doing the same thing with this. I'm just snugging them up. And we should be about good. And I'll show you show you what I mean by power option. Basically it's just adjusting your focal length. And another thing, when you go to tighten your rings down, it is important that you do it kind of like a lug wrench opposite. So power option is your focal length option, and that's this guy right here. So don't have your ring sitting on your power option. All right, now to level it, and this is where I'm going to need to adjust my camera. Before I do that, get my range bag here. So they make levels that you can stick on your rifle, or levels made just for leveling a scope. String line level. Works pretty damn good, and it's rather simple to use. So I'm going to move my range bag, and I'm going to adjust this camera, so get ready for a ride. I think that should do it. And a little bit more. And I'll squat down. So we've got the, I don't need to. That's pretty cool. So we've got the scope, right? And I'm sitting on a flat surface. I know this is a level and hard surface. So what you're going to do, you need to push down to make sure that both of the bottoms of your scope rings are sitting flat. You don't want one sitting like this, because this isn't going to work if you do. So with my level, I'm going to go ahead and check front to back, and that's perfect, right? So then left to right, and this is previous to setting it on your rifle, right? So left to right, I'm going to tweak it just a little bit until I am dead level. I don't know if you can see that, but that's dead level. So front to back, left to right, dead level. So what we want to do at this point, take your handy dandy wrench, all right, and holding the scope. Remember I said you need to do it like a lug wrench. Don't hold the scope, hold the ring. Try not to touch the scope at this point, or the optic, whatever you're trying to level. And you're going to go in an alternating pattern, right? So front top right, bottom left on the, yep, and then top left, and then bottom right. So you're just going to go kind of in a star pattern or whatever, alternating. And you're going to get those good and snug before you even touch the scope. You need to get those good and snug. So the rear ring is exactly where the hell I want it. And what I'm going to do is the exact same thing. So I did the front first. You just start to feel it snug up. So you spin your screw until it snugs up just a little bit. You're not putting a lot of torque on it at all at this point. So I'm going to go again. It's just where you know that is good and snug. And then before I lock it all down, level. Gonna check front to back. That's freaking perfect. Gonna check left to right. It's out just a little bit. I must have bumped it while I was working it. And that's why we don't lock it all down, because I need to back this up just a little bit. And when you're loosening your screws, it's not terribly... See, that one is already loose. You're just backing them up a little bit so that the scope tube will move not easily, but will move inside the rings. So I'm pushing down, and that is dead level. That's freaking perfect. All right, so at this point, I'm going to re-snug. Did you see that? I didn't alternate shit. All right, re-snugging. All right, and before we lock it down, double check, dead perfect. You see what I mean? So from there, we can pick the scope up, and using the wrench, the long end of the wrench, get her quarter turned. That'll lock that. And before we bump anything, do the back one. Just the top right, bottom left. That locks it down. And because we're handling the scope, we're going to set it back down on our level surface. And that's perfect. So when you put this on your rifle, you're expecting that your rifle is, and let me show what I'm talking about here. So going from here, to the top one, to the bottom one, like an X. And that's how we're locking this down. Your rifle rail may not be dead level, but this will get you close enough that if you're taking on those longer shots, then you'll be good without cant. By cant I mean it's turning, it's one way or the other. It's off level, and that will translate on, especially those longer shots. That'll translate into being off at range, and depending on what you're hunting, that could mean that the difference between landing it or not. So I'm tightening this down. It is official. A lot of times you may find that you'll have to re-level after you shoot a little bit. I should have put some freaking Loctite on these damn screws, but whatever. I didn't, and that's usually how I roll, and it ends up that later I get frustrated because my ring's loosened up. What do you do? So, man, that's tight. That's good and tight. There's one that needed a little bit of love. You probably heard that. There we go. All right. So now we've got a leveled scope. What do we do from here? You may ask. Well, me done. And I know I've got a round in this one. No, I don't. Good to go. So with that, got our scope. We need to figure out our eye relief. We also, and Josh, you need another wrench, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think this one will fit that. Nope. Hold one. Yeah, it's still going. Wow. All right. Sorry about that. I'll try and edit that one out. Anyway, so these are called quick detach, and you'll see that it cams over the shape of this. It'll cam over, and it'll close this puppy up. You seeing that? Close that puppy up, so that grips onto your rail. This is your rail. So we got to figure out the eye relief on this rifle, and it may be right size at this point. My goodness, look at that, right out of the box. It's freaking ideal. No, it isn't. Hey. All right, so let me show you this. When I've cammed that over, I'll cam both of them over. When I've cammed that over, so it's attached to the rifle. See that? You don't want any slop. You don't want any slop. So what I do at that point is take the appropriate sized Allen key, and I'm going to snug that up to my rifle. And I'll show you. Just snug locks it down, so there's no slop in there, right? But when you shoot that, it's going to go to slop. So open your cams back up, your quick release, and what you'll do from there with the scope off of the rifle. So I'm sitting like this, 90 degrees. You're going to turn it 180, and that should give you a nice tight lock. Let's see if I'm right. Actually need to lighten that up just a little bit. So we're going to back that up just a half turn. Needs a little bit more love than that. That's funny. So I'm going to go tighter by a quarter turn. Oh yeah, that's it. So off of this one, I'm just going to back it up a quarter turn, and it should lock down. Yeah, but it wasn't quite as tight as I'd like. Let's see. I mean, you want everything to be seated pretty damn tight. That's good. All right. So there it is mounted, right? Now you have this thing called eye relief. You need to figure out whatever rifle you're using. You need to figure out what's comfortable. Man, there we go. Yeah, that's pretty much the eye relief I want. So what you're looking for is whatever your pull length is. You're wanting your eye to be back off of this thing or close enough to it that you've got the full field of view inside of the scope tube. And this right there is it. So that is it. That is it. I'm going to go up to my in-laws farm and zero this thing in, and that'll be good. Kind of like the way that it looks on there. Of course, I need to spray paint it. Yeah, that's good though. That's good. Real good. All right. Well, so ends the lesson for the day. Have a good one. Can we do some outro music? Oh, hell no.